So I think it's safe to say that every business, especially when you start a business, that's the goal. The goal is to stand out. The goal is to do something different. The goal is to, kind of pave your own path, or you're mad about this thing, or you're upset at this company, or you wish you had this in your town. And so, that's the goal. The goal is to do something different. The goal is to do something that stands out. But the issue is when you get comfortable, or the issue is when you see someone else have success, or an influencer, or something like that, you kind of, take a step back, or you kind of lose the vision, or you kind of lose, essentially you just get distracted, and then you're not standing out anymore. And honestly, it's totally understandable. I mean, it's the whole shiny object syndrome, right? Like I have it with specific things. Like I love cameras. So I see a camera and I just daydream about it, right? So you see success, you see maybe as a friend, or maybe someone who lives close by, or like I said, an influencer, and you go, oh, if I just dress like that person, or oh, if I just order that thing that person has to sell, or if I copy this person with whatever. Like it could be even just as simple as like a website, or their colors, or their fonts, or heck, even their logo, right? It is very easy to fall into that rut, but then it's really hard to get out of it, because now you're digging yourself out of this thing. And so by standing out, you automatically aren't just thrown into that category of whatever they're doing, right? Like I live in a very small town, it's called Prescott, Arizona, and a lot of people get stuck in that. A lot of people get stuck in the Prescott thing. And that's with every, goodness gracious, that is with every small town though, right? You start naming your things after the things in the town. You start naming your things about the town. You start doing this, you start doing your products about this, you start doing all these things about that specific town, and now it just essentially pinholes you to that town, and now you can't grow outside of that town or go international or whatever the case is. So if you're not selling as much, or you're not, getting enough income, or you're feeling a little dip in sales or something like that, it's probably a standing out issue, right? You're blending in too much. Maybe again, you're getting a little, comfortable. I don't want to say lazy, but maybe a little comfortable, and you're not standing out as much as you should. So we're gonna get into this in this video today, but a little bit about me. So my name is Stephen Kinsley. I own a company called Dork Social Club, as you can see back here. And that is my motto. That is my thing, is I stand out. I've always stand out. I've always had businesses that stand out, and I've seen major profit from that. And then also, seeing the value of eyes on you, seeing the value of 1,000 true fans, seeing the value of people that want to be a part of your company because you're so different from everyone else. So that's my mantra, I guess you would say, or that's that's my motto or tag or whatever, right? Is you should be standing out, right? So I have this actual tag. It's called "Normal Gets You Nowhere." Okay, so when you blend in, you lose fans. When you blend in, you look like everyone else, and that is not a good place to be. So with Dork Social Club, I help out entrepreneurs and business owners and people like that, people who want to start business, or people who are in that 0 to about 10-year mark, essentially with any issues that they have, right? So call me a coach, call me a brand builder, or whatever you want to call me, but I help out people who don't want to fit in, right, and build bold brands to stand out. So if you're interested or want to check out my programs or anything like that, I will talk about a freebie in a little bit, so we'll get there in a second. Check out my .com. Follow me on Instagram and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, so the very first point is, if you stand out, you will never be forgotten. So it's pretty self-explanatory about that point, essentially. If you stand out, if you do things that are not normal, right? If you do things that no one else is doing, if you pave the way, right? If you are the boat that is making the wake, not the one riding the wave or riding the wake, then you are the one standing out. So by making that wave or making that wake, so being the boat, being the person that is literally pushing everything forward, you're the one that's never gonna be forgotten. You're gonna be the one that is never, shoved into that corner, right? So if you're the one that's making the wake, right, the boat, you'll never be forgotten. But if you all of a sudden fall into, you're riding the wave, you're riding the wake, right? You're the one just copying, you're the one just kind of being the second best, you will always be the second best. Your brand will always be the second best. And then you'll just kind of turn into that commodity that is not good. And if you don't know what a commodity is, I can make a whole YouTube video about that, about the reason why you shouldn't be a commodity. But essentially, you don't want to be a commodity. You don't want to be the second best, because that is, again, how you start slowly losing traffic, right? Side note, I talk about the honeymoon phase a lot. So when you first open up your business, people are excited about you. They're excited about you, right? But then it slowly trickles down because they're not as excited about, you anymore because you're not brand new. But how do you keep that person up here, right? How do you keep them constantly interested in you instead of just the next best thing, right? And then they're finally hitting the next best thing and they're coming back over here hitting the next best thing. So how do you do that, right? Well, you stand out. You make the wake, right? You are the boat. And actually, side note really quick, this is not in my notes, but standing out doesn't have to mean like super loud colors. Like it doesn't have to be bright orange or bright pink or bright yellow or whatever the case is as far as like brands go, or, I'm just actually specifically talking about brand colors right now. It could be muted colors. It could be tan, white, and black. It could be very simple colors like that. It does not have to be crazy loud, but you're doing stuff just a little different or a lot different. That's my motto, is I go way the other way, right? You do things a lot different in your industry, okay? So I actually say this example in the freebie that I'm gonna tell you about in a little bit, which is like if you're a realtor and you wear pantsuits because you have to because you're a realtor, well, what if you, but you also enjoy fashion. But what if you just lean into that fashion thing and keep on being a realtor? You think you'll stand out? I think 100% you will, right? So I see it all the time, and actually in the real estate agent, world, especially in this town, where people just go, I just have to sell a home. Well, it's way harder than that because there's a bajillion people in that industry. Well, how do you stand out? Well, you just be yourself. So how do you not be forgotten? You stand out. Okay, so point number 2, when you stand out, okay, you build a pack. Or if you want to be lame and boring and fit in, you build a community. So when you stand out, when you have this influence behind you, right? When you are starting to grow on Instagram, or you're starting to get these sales because you're starting to kind of go against the current, you're making your own wave, right? We already talked about that. You start to build a following. You start to build people that are really interested in you and your product and your business and all the things. I mean, we see it every single day with a bunch of different brands, right? Like this is a great brand to look at, right? They are really making waves in the hat world, and they've been doing it for years now. So anyways, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but when you start doing that, people start wanting to essentially attach to you or glue to you, or use whatever word you want to talk about, but people really are interested in something that's new, not the same. I mean, we see it all the time, again, in like the fashion industry and like just all over, right? When someone comes out with same old boring bags or same old boring, hatware or clothes or shoes or whatever, I mean, maybe it pops off a little bit, but it's not successful. Well, when someone really comes out with something completely new and different and stands way out to really over here, a lot of people glue to it, right? I think of like Supreme, or I think of like those, like, what are those freaking doll, like they look like Furbies in my opinion from back in the day. That just tells you how old I am. But like those little doll like bag things, right? Like when people do stuff different, people flock to them. And then you build a community and you get that much closer to 1,000 true fans. 1,000 true fans. If you don't know 1,000 true fans, I got a bunch of videos about them, but essentially the goal is to have 1,000 people that will buy anything that you sell. And if you can do that math, right? If you can have 1,000 people constantly buy your $20 item or your $100 item or your $30,000 item or your $3,000 item, you will be very, 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 very successful. So you don't need 50,000, customers, goodness gracious, or, essentially, I'm just a seasonal company, right? You don't have to worry about that stuff. If you can just get 1,000 people to buy everything that you essentially sell, you will never work another day in your life. It's actually a really cool rule. It's a really cool theory. You should check it out if you haven't yet. Okay, so we're gonna talk about point number 3 really quick, and then we're gonna get into some like do's and don'ts and some bad things and whatever if you choose to just keep on fitting in. But point number 3 is if you stand out, people will then market for you. So it's the coolest thing. It's the coolest thing to watch. And especially with one of my companies right now, I own a video and photo production company. And it's really cool to see because like so many people come to me for marketing, right? Well, when people are so in love with you because you made a wave and they start to market for you, you should never turn off that marketing stream. That's a whole different subject though. But essentially you can kind of do less, or you can kind of do more for that community. There's like a couple different like branches you can go to as far as your marketing goes. You're not just going flood the market. You can go, well, let's nurture. Let's see how our community is doing. Let's do this, let's do that. It opens up, again, all these different branches of marketing that you can now pour into that sometimes isn't as expensive, because sometimes nurturing and running ads and video and photo and all this stuff can kind of get really expensive. I should know. But it's really cool because if you stand out, so if you choose to do this, again, people will market for you. People will be so in love with, the pen that you have, or the water bottle that you make, or the phone case, or the scarf, or the hat, right? Like, I'm technically marketing for Seeger, and people that reach, like, no joke. Okay, so I went into a local hike shop, and the guy didn't really even know. I think he was just an employee. I don't think he was the owner or the person who owned this hat, or ordered this hat. And I was like, oh, like, Seeger's awesome. And he's like, oh, I don't know too much about Seeger. And I was like, okay, so Seeger's like this, right? While I was walking by the other day, he stopped me and he's like, hey, I bought 2 of their hats. I just marketed for them. I don't get any affiliation, like money or whatever from that. I don't get any, compensation. I just love their hats because of a number of different things with this hat. The main thing is that they put something on the inside right here so it doesn't pull out my hair. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that they go above and beyond with the quality of their hats, right? So anyways, I made a fan. I marketed for this person because of why? Because this company made a really good product and they stand out, and it attracted me. Again, it's not gonna attract every person, but it attracted their ideal client, which is me. And so the whole point of this, okay, and stay tuned because I'm not done with this video yet, but the whole point of this is if you stand out, you will never be forgotten. If you stand out, you will never have a money issue again. I'm serious. Like, one of my companies that I closed down in 2023 and it really freaking sucked, I still get stopped not every single day, but it seems like every single day recently. But it's at least minimum 3 times a week. And that was a 3-year-old, I closed it 3 years ago. Not last week. It's not still open. I still get stopped 3 times a week right now. It's crazy. People still want photos. I still want to be talked, they want to talk to me about this or that and how it changed their life and how they appreciate it, how they still have one of my hats or one of my shirts or whatever the case is. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy what type of company you can build when you stand out. Okay, so let's get into some do's and don'ts. Okay, so I said do's and don'ts, but I really just meant downfalls. Okay, so listen to this. When you copy a trend or copy because of success, okay? So when you copy a trend or when you copy because of success, you confuse your audience. You distract yourself from your goal and you forget why you got into this in the first place. Okay, because like, again, not to just start this whole video over, but when you start out, you're fired up, you're ready to go. You're gonna change the world with this specific corner in the market, right? And then all of a sudden you get distracted and you start ordering these things and you start going to stuff, and because maybe profit isn't where it's supposed to be at, or you promised your husband or your wife that you were gonna whatever, and this is actually making money over here, but you really wanna make money over here, but it's not because, and then you just continue to fall, right? Or stumble. And so again, when you copy those trends though, and you buy the little trinkets or you whatever because it's starting to make some money, you confuse the audience that's over here. And then those audience that are could be the 1,000 true fans, they go somewhere else because you're confusing them with all the trinkets and all the crap, and the influencer you saw does this, so you're doing this, but they really want that. So if you stay focused on this, if you stay, again, just hyper focused on your goal that you forgot about because you just continued to, lose focus, but when you focus on that goal and you stand out and you're over here, you will build such a tight community. I freaking promise. I promise. I've seen it before. It's happened to me multiple times. So an example of this that you've probably felt before is like when the oxygen gets sucked out of the room. That's what happens when you lose focus. That's what happens when you come over to the dark side or whatever you want to call it, right? That's what happens when you start offering things that your ideal client doesn't want, or you stop standing out, or whatever the case is, right? So you gotta stand out, I promise. So here's a tip, and then I wanna tell you about the freebie, okay? Then we're gonna get into the closing and stuff, okay? So the tip is that essentially 2 things, okay? So I do this all the time, this first point because, not really the second point, but I have in the past. I do this all the time because I wouldn't say I get distracted, but I start comparing myself to a lot of people. And it's not healthy. It's not good. So if you're someone that compares themselves to a lot of different people, gotta stop it. And you got to, it sounds really dumb, but you gotta put your blinders on, okay? Like when horses race, when they have like race horses, they literally cover their eyes so all they see is straight because they'll get distracted when they see the other horse coming up, right? Because technically the whole theory is the horse isn't in charge, the person's in charge on them riding him, right? So they wanted them to focus on going straight, not churning or not being distracted by the horses coming up behind them. And so essentially that's what you gotta do, is you gotta go, okay, I'm done comparing myself and I'm just gonna put my blinders on, right? And then the second point, or the second tip, is essentially unfollow people. So again, I did this a long time ago and it's been awesome and I haven't really had to do it since because I'm just now going, okay, well, I'm not gonna follow that person because that's unhealthy for me to follow that person, right? Because then I start comparing myself to them. So anyone that's like competing with you or that you're getting jealous of or that you're annoyed of or that you, again, are now copying, unfollow those people. Remember, you are doing your own thing. You're focusing on your own thing. You have your blinders on and you don't care about anyone else in the world because you are focusing on your person, your people, your path, you're the boat. And yes, everyone's over here riding this wave, but I'm going this way, okay? Something I talk about in the freebie as well that I'm gonna tell you in a second is the theory of if you zig, or if everyone else is zigging, you should zag, okay? It's a book, I quote it and whatever, I'm forgetting right now. It's a really like short business book, it's called Zag, but when everyone's zigging, you zag, okay? It's a very, very, very common thing in the business world and a lot of people don't realize it. Okay, so the free thing. Okay, the free thing is freaking sick, okay? And it's essentially, it's one section of my program. So my program is called Build the Damn Thing, okay? And it follows this framework, which I have invented and whatever you wanna call it. And it's called the Dork Blueprint. And so the Dork Blueprint, essentially, it shows you how to build your business with the example of a house, okay? So you have your foundation, you have your 4 walls, and then you have your roof, and then you have the porch. Build the Damn Thing is a 90-day sprint where I build this thing with you, and then I have DIY or die, so if you wanna do it by yourself and DIY baby, you can do that as well, and I give you all the worksheets, and it's really freaking cool. But then Build the Damn Thing is, I actually build it with you. That's not free, I charge for that. But the porch, okay, normal gets you nowhere, right? The porch, which essentially goes further into detail about this specific subject, about standing out, and actually shows you how to stand out. It's free. It's a 40-minute long, actually pretty sure it's 40 minutes. It's a 40-minute long teaching, and I go through a bunch of different things essentially on how to stand out. And I call it the porch because this is not your brand, this is not your foundation, this is not your marketing, which is your walls, this is not how I'm gonna push your business forward with your roof, nothing like that. But the porch is very important because it's what everyone sees. It's how you as a business owner act. It's how you push your brand forward. It's how you talk about your brand. It's how you get cornered at a party and all of a sudden people are like asking you questions about your business. It's how to respond to them, okay? It's very, very, very important. And again, it's the porch. So it's a part of that framework, but I'm giving that away for free because I wanna help you guys and I love you guys. And yes, I ask for your email because I would like to work with you eventually. I think it'd be freaking cool to help you build sick brands because that's why I'm doing this, right? But I don't spam, I'm not annoying, and I just nurture. I just love you guys. That's all that is, okay? And again, I'm getting into this because I thoroughly love helping brands and businesses grow. That's it. So that's yours for free. Link down in the description because of YouTube, and then it'll take you to the landing page, and you put your email in, your name in, and then it takes you straight to this this link. And again, it's a 40-minute teaching on how to stand out and how to push your business forward by standing out. So check that out. It's freaking awesome. So the very, 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 very last thing I want to say before I close this video is if you don't stand out, you will be forgotten. Okay, I've already said this, and I'm saying it again because I love you. I don't know you, but I love you, okay? If you don't stand out, you will be forgotten. It's such an important thing that I made it a part of my framework, okay? It's such an important thing that I talk about this all the time with my peeps, right? With my people. And it's such an important thing because I see it constantly. I constantly see this, and it really bums me out. So if you don't stand out, you'll be forgotten. So choose to make your own wake. Choose to be the boat, okay? Just flee away from trends. Flee away from people that you're gonna copy because they drive the Ferrari or whatever the case is, because they're a little bit more successful than you. It's just because you haven't figured out the right path, the right framework, and you're not there yet. You gotta put in the reps, okay? So focus. If you don't stand out, you'll be forgotten. Remember that. And I love you. So subscribe, do all that stuff. And I make videos all the time. So DM me, reach out if you have any questions, and check out the freebie, and then let me know if you're interested in working more and do more one of the programs. So DIY or die, baby, or build the damn thing. I'll talk to you soon, and thanks again for everything.